In the late 16th century, English settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of present-day North Carolina. Led by John White, the settlers aimed to create a new life in the New World. However, when White returned from a supply run to England, he found the colony abandoned, with only the cryptic word Croton carved into a tree. The fate of the settlers remains unknown, fueling centuries of speculation and intrigue. Chapter 1: The Founding. In 1587, a group of brave English settlers, led by John White, set sail for the New World. Their destination, Roanoke Island, a lush and untamed land teeming with potential. With dreams of a fresh start and a bright future, the settlers established the first English colony in the Americas. Chapter 2: Struggles and Hardship. Life on Roanoke Island proved to be a test of endurance for the intrepid settlers. From the moment they set foot on the rugged shores, they were met with a barrage of challenges that tested their resilience and resolve. The unforgiving climate of the New World was the first obstacle the settlers encountered. Summers brought scorching heat and humidity, while winters brought biting cold and relentless storms. The harsh weather took its toll on both crops and morale, as the settlers struggled to adapt to their new environment. The unfamiliar terrain of Roanoke Island presented its own set of challenges. Dense forests, tangled undergrowth, and treacherous swamps made travel difficult, if not impossible. Exploration beyond the confines of the settlement was fraught with danger, as unseen dangers lurked around every corner. Shortages of food and supplies only added to the settlers' woes. Despite their best efforts at farming and hunting, provisions grew scarce, and hunger became a constant companion. Rations were reduced to meager portions, and starvation loomed as a very real threat. As tensions mounted within the colony, cracks began to appear in the facade of unity. Disputes over resources and leadership simmered beneath the surface, threatening to erupt into open conflict at any moment. In the face of mounting pressure, John White knew that drastic action was needed to save the struggling settlement. With a heavy heart, John White made the difficult decision to return to England in search of aid. Leaving behind his family and friends, he set sail across the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, unsure of what he would find on his return. As the ship disappeared over the horizon, the settlers were left to face their uncertain future alone. But even in the darkest of times, they clung to a glimmer of hope, knowing that their survival depended on their strength, their resilience, and their unwavering determination to overcome the challenges that lay ahead. Chapter 3: The Vanishing. Months stretched into years as John White braved the treacherous seas, his heart heavy with anticipation and dread. With each passing day, his thoughts were consumed by visions of Roanoke Island and the fate of the settlers he had left behind. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, John White's ship returned to the shores of Roanoke Island. But as he stepped onto the familiar soil, a sense of foreboding gripped him. Something was amiss. The colony lay before him, silent and still, but there was an eerie emptiness that hung in the air like a shroud. Abandoned buildings stood as silent sentinels, their walls echoing with the ghostly whispers of a community that had vanished without a trace. John White's heart sank as he surveyed the desolate landscape before him, where once there had been bustling streets and bustling activity. Now there was only silence and solitude. The settlers, his friends, his family, they were nowhere to be found. Frantically, John White searched every corner of the island, scouring the forests, the beaches, and the marshlands for any sign of life. But his efforts were in vain. The colony had vanished, leaving behind only a haunting mystery and a multitude of unanswered questions. What had happened to the settlers? Where had they gone? These questions echoed in John White's mind as he stood alone on the deserted shores of Roanoke Island, his heart heavy with sorrow and regret. Chapter 4: The Search Begins. Determined to uncover the truth, John White and a small group of explorers set out in search of the missing colonists. Their journey takes them deep into the wilderness, where they encounter Native American tribes and face the challenges of the unknown. But despite their efforts, the fate of the lost colony remains elusive. Chapter 5: The Theories and Speculation. Over the centuries, countless theories have emerged to explain the disappearance of the Roanoke settlers. Some believe they fell victim to disease or famine, while others speculate they were attacked by hostile Native American tribes. Still, others suggest they may have integrated with local tribes or sailed away in search of a new home. Chapter 6: Modern-Day Discoveries. In the present day, a new generation of researchers and archaeologists takes up the mantle of unraveling the mystery of Roanoke. Armed with the latest technology and scientific methods, they scour the island for clues and evidence. The discoveries shed new light on the events that unfolded centuries ago, but the ultimate truth remains tantalizingly out of reach.